Now, tell me what your thoughts are about these plans for a pro-Palestinian, anti-Israel protest across the Harbour Bridge. The government has rejected the calls, of course, but these protesters say they're going ahead with it this Sunday regardless, in scenes that could create chaos.
The Premier has been strong on this, and the police also, in saying that this categorically won't happen. But we know the sort of element we're dealing with here, and they're trying to pass this off about, being about humanity, being about peace. But I think the Australian public will see right through that. The organisers of this rally are the same people who organised the rally as October 7 was still unfolding, effectively to celebrate those atrocities. These are people who, for 22 months, have not once chanted about peace and humanity and a two-state solution. Their version of peace and justice means the destruction of Israel wholesale. So, of course, they have a right to protest, as obnoxious and noxious as these people are. But there's no right inherently to shut down the Harbour Bridge on a weekend and to stop tens of thousands of decent Australians from getting to their weekend sports, visiting friends and family, and enjoying our city. So we hope that the law is enforced. We hope there's no clashes or confrontations. But ultimately, we're a nation of laws and they need to be enforced in this case.
As I said at the top of the program, perhaps the protest should go through the Sydney Harbour Tunnel instead. They might just get some sense of what it's like for hostages kept in the tunnels underneath Gaza. I want to show you these pictures that have been the key picture, really, that's been shown right around the world, including on the front page of the New York Times, who's now issued a clarification. We've been on about this for days. It's been clear. People have exposed that the boy, young Mohammed, in this picture was suffering cerebral palsy and all sorts of other conditions, while obviously his mother and his older brother are not starving. So for this to be used as proof of starvation in Gaza was deceptive. There's been some concession to that today from the New York Times, but surely the ABC, the Sydney Morning Herald and media around the world need to make that same correction, because this has created a completely false narrative that's gone on for days.
Look, they should correct it, but as we've seen throughout this war, news outlets are often so quick to report something and rather sluggish in actually clarifying or apologising or retracting. And when they do, it's inevitably tucked away and buried somewhere. We saw that with the attack by Islamic Jihad in the early months of the war, which hit a Palestinian hospital, which was predictably blamed on Israel. We saw recently a UN official saying that within 48 hours, some 14,000 babies are going to die, which turned out to be nonsense as well. But they report this quickly because it's sensational and it feeds into a particular narrative. And we've seen people like Bob Carr pick up this propaganda and this disinformation, essentially, and press home the point with even more outrageous claims about comparisons to the Warsaw Ghetto and comparisons to the starvation of Ukrainian peasants by Stalin in the 1930s. So this has enormous legs and it's part of a broader disinformation campaign. But at the same time, we shouldn't detract from the actual suffering that is happening in Gaza. It's without question. But once we have these sorts of hyperbolic claims and disinformation, it makes it harder to actually deal with a problem in a rational, coherent sense. It needs a solution. But sensationalism and false reporting like that gets us further away from finding that solution.
Yeah, well said, Alex. Thanks for joining us again. I appreciate it. Alex Ryvchin there with the Executive Council of Australian Jewry.